everyone. So I hope you all are doing great today. So I'm Shailja from SimplyWork Services, and just to introduce about our company, SimplyWork is an AI-enabled platform for the multidimensional collaborations in the cosmetics, aesthetics, and the wellness industry. So the cosmetic and aesthetic, as you all know, that the situation is not good at the moment, and it is taking a hit in the impact of the COVID-19. So we have our panel of doctors who will be discussing how the COVID-19 has affected the cosmetic and the aesthetic sector and what changes we can expect in the foreseeable future. So I would like to introduce our esteemed panelists today. We have with us Dr. Girish from the Curls and Curves Cosmetic Center, Vijayanagar, Bangalore. So he is a plastic surgeon and a hair transplant surgeon, over 19 years of experience in this field. So he had his graduation, post-graduation and super specialty courses from some of the esteemed colleges of repute in the country. He is also recognized with the Association of the Plastic Surgeons of India, the Indian Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons, and the International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons, ISAPS. Welcome, Dr. Girish.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shailja.
We also have with us Dr. Pawan Murdeshwar from the Helios Clinic located in Jayanagar, Bangalore. He is a board certified plastic, aesthetic, and a reconstructive surgeon. So Dr. Pawan is the most sought out cosmetic surgeon and he has patients from different parts of the countries and overseas. He is an active member of many reputed organizations and he has many articles published in Indian and the international papers. I welcome you, Dr. Pawan.
Thank you so much.
So we also have with us Dr. Rashmi Nandakishore, who is the MD and CEO of the Riva Laser Medical Center. So Riva has been a prominent aesthetic center in Dubai for over 10 years. So they have achieved excellence in the laser treatments and the medical aesthetics. The team is led by Dr. Rashmi, who has over 15 plus years of experience in the aesthetic treatment. The clinic is located at Rajarajeshwari Nagar, Bangalore. So welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So let's begin with our discussion with Dr. Rashmi. So Dr. Rashmi, as the pandemic has affected every industry and sector, so how is the cosmetic and aesthetic industry responding to the coronavirus?
Well, because as we all know, during the lockdown and even before the lockdown, the fear of corona was there. And because the corona, we all knew that it was spreading erratically throughout. So people were very fearful to enter into any clinic for that matter. And as we all know, the procedures what we do is with a close contact and this is a luxurious procedures. So people were not ready to accept it because of the fear. You know, even though we were ready to take all the precautionary measures, but people had that fear like any other industry. During the lockdown, the manufacturing industry was shut down, the distributors, the suppliers, and the service providers were completely shut down. We all know that. So once the lockdown is easing out, now people slowly and gradually, they started accepting it. And then because, we have got so much used to being pampered and, polished look that it is difficult for us to be like a tribal people now, so we need to come back. We need to come back and have that polished look once again. Though it might take little bit of time for most of us to go on a regular basis like the way we used to before COVID, but definitely I think our industry will come back. The moment, the movie industry comes back, the serials comes back, the fashion industry comes back, and also, all the weddings, birthday parties, engagements, all those things, once it comes back to its normal celebration, I think even the beauty industry will come back to its normal zone. Because I don't think so. I would prefer to go to any small parties without even grooming myself, right? So it is a must. So I think the same with even men also. I hope even Dr. Girish and Dr. Pawan also will agree with that. Even men nowadays, as we all see, they need that grooming now. They can't go. The moment, my dad is 75 years old. The moment the barber shop was opened, he went for just his haircut. So you can imagine, whether it is old people or younger ones, we need beauty services and the cosmetic procedures and the surgical procedures. I'm sure our industry will come back to its, popularity slowly and gradually.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. So we all know it's a difficult time for every industry, as we just, Dr. Rashmi also mentioned about how it is affecting the, cosmetic and the aesthetic industry. So as Dr. Girish, can you tell us how is it affecting the industry with what is the kind of, risk or the effect that it is going to hamper the beauty and the cosmetic industry?
Yeah, of course, amidst this corona pandemic uncertainty, so everyone has to move on, as well as we. So we also need to move on. So all the industries has to move on. The people has to move on. So of course, we have understood to some extent about this corona, at least how to avoid the getting infected and some precautions, general precautions, and so many things. So with those baseline, of course, after understanding, if not completely about the virus, at least to some extent, or generally, at least how to get infected and how to spread other things, so we can definitely move on. So now everybody has started, start living with it actually, rather, I can say. So everybody is now back to work, back to, at least near normalcy, towards normalcy. At least the people who are having work from home, at least they are doing from the, have that opportunity to do like that. But the cosmetic industry or any hospital industry can't do like that. So of course, with the due precautions, I think we can come back and do the proper good job as we are doing before. Of course, the fear is there in everyone's mind about the coronavirus, but fear is not the answer and neither the solution for the coronavirus. So the only way out is take some necessary precautions and move on. So the proper awareness is most important here. So either the people, the clients who are looking for the service, or the industry, the cosmetic industry who are providing the services. So here, so what are those necessary precautions? Like one has to highlight or give importance to those precautions. Like the personal hygiene, yes. The wearing, the most important here is the wearing the good quality mask. So it may be N95 mask, or it may be 3-ply surgical mask, and sometimes if required the respirators. So all of them are easily available nowadays. It's not that difficult when the pandemic started actually. So there was some dearth of supply and problems were there in the supply and demand. So but now the things are available so easily, and one can make use of this safety measure. So here important is not to rely on the regular masks, like the regular face masks, the cloth masks, other things. So one has to give importance to these type of mask for their own safety as well as to the prevent spreading also. Like once again, I can repeat that. So it is N95 mask or 3-ply surgical mask, or even the respirators are available. So when they can go boldly with wearing such masks into the, anywhere actually, even to the hospital industry or the malls or anywhere for that matter. So they can move on with that. And of course, Even hand hygiene is equally important. Of course, now everyone is having that sanitizers with them. Even the hospitals are also providing the necessary the hand sanitizers also. Definitely, the cosmetic industry will survive and will bounce back. Will continue to do the excellent the service as before. That's what I can say. So along with that, the most important part we notice here is the cosmetic industry. The client flow is the young adults, the middle-aged, the persons, are will have more inclination to the beautification, or our more client flow is the middle-aged or young adults. So which who are less affected by this coronavirus. So thereby, I can say, like barring those extreme ages, that is the children as well as the elderly people above 60 with some comorbid conditions. So anyway, we are not handling them. So we do not come across frequently as we come across these the middle-aged or young adults. So they are also safe, means to say they are safe because of their immunity, because of their age, and because of their awareness. I can say what they can follow the precautions. So thereby, in overall, so even the clientele are safe, and even the our cosmetic industry, by following some stringent precautions, safety measures, I think there is no problems involved, or I foresee, like with the cosmetic industry especially. So there may be the problems still the common hospital industry is facing, because they do come across the regular clients who are sick. And here the patients are not sick, first of all, and they are healthy, they are aware, and they can take care of themselves even before the procedure and after the procedure as well. So maybe a few words about the the improving their immunity, because even they are involved in the fitness also, and also they will be doing some necessary balanced diet. So overall, so they will be having good immunity. So thereby, I think boldly, like they can go ahead for any cosmetic needs, maybe non-surgical or even surgical as well. So here, it's all about the responsibility. As one, we have like a social responsibility. So it is the responsibility of the clientele and the industry, if they are providing, understanding the corona, providing necessary the services with the due precautions. So definitely we can come back and give that the proper services, as we are already doing, means as past in for 1 month, I can say. So with the whatever the clientele support, so their responsibilities are shown towards the whatever as a client. So we are doing the surgeries on a regular basis. So with God's grace and with the due precautions, we are doing well, and with no hazards or no problems, I can say. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Girish, for sharing the very important aspect of how you can take precautions at this pandemic time. Because health is wealth, as we all know that we need to take care of our health, and that is the most important thing that is the concern now. So, as it is a known fact that the industry is going to having a huge financial crunch at this period, so how will the crisis fundamentally change the industry in the long run? So, Dr. Pawan, can you enlighten a few points on this?
Yes, Shailaja. So what we say is the impact of the coronavirus on the clients, especially the cosmetic surgery clients, is very much. It's on the four tier. What we say, according to us, what we analyzed is, first of all, the client is very much hesitant to come to the clinic, thinking that they might be affected by the virus. They will get affected. They will spread it to their family and all those things. Second tier is they are very much confused that because of the work from home crisis, what they are having ample amount of time to get all their solutions done for the cosmetic surgery, but they cannot come thinking about the viral infection. And the third tier being the financial uncertainty, right? If they are spending on the cosmetic surgery right now, in the future, what happens if the viral infection goes on havoc and it increases, then how to cope up with that, all those things. And lastly, the client is also thinking that if they get the procedure done, what if after the procedure their immunity comes down, and because of which they will be very much exposed to the viral infection. So all these things, uncertainty, all those things have really affected the cosmetic industry. But as Dr. Girish and Dr. Rashmi has already said, the industry will definitely come out of that. And it's very you can see that now all the governments are saying that okay, you can cope up with that, live with the coronavirus even if it is affected. See to that your personal hygiene as well as the immunity is developed, and once both the things are in proper state, then none of the viral infection will cause any kind of mishappenings. So in that condition, I can say that once this becomes generalized, that okay, live with the virus, then definitely the cosmetic industry will get back to its normal platform, where clients will be coming to the clinic without any fear. Because as Dr. Girish said, that the clients coming to our clinic are the ones who are not affected generally. Those are not the ones who are sick. That's why we call them the clients rather than the patients. And secondly, those are the none of those sick patients do visit our clinics, so there is less chances of affecting the normal people. And most of the clients are middle-aged people, and all those things, that's definitely a fear which has to come out of the mind of the people. And once they come to a clinic, we do guide and tell to them that how safe are the surgeries, and being most of the surgeries done on the daycare basis, right? That the overnight admissions is not required, exposure to the clinic environment is not there, and hence the exposure to the coronavirus is less. Most of the surgeries are performed with the short GA or epidural anesthesia or a small performance basis, so that the chances of losing their immunity and hence exposure to the coronavirus is not there. And lastly, the financial crisis. That is the one thing which has hampered not only the individual, but even the countries, the governments, and all over the global crisis, what is happening. But the financial crisis, as you can see, even in Indian government, because of the financial crisis, compared with the individual health, it's a war which is happening. And once the financial crisis comes up, definitely the cosmetic industry will develop again, get back to its normal limit. And I don't think it's a long-term impact what will happen on the basis of cosmetic surgery. It should get back well.
Thank you, Dr. Pawan, for sharing such wonderful insights. So, requiring clinical care during the global COVID-19 is a need of the hour. So, what protocols are necessary for the clinics to ensure safety? Dr. Girish, can you throw some light on this?
Yeah, sure, Shailaja. So here the protocols, what we follow, generally we are following actually as of now, is I can divide it into two things, two headings actually. So one is the client responsibility, and the next one is the hospital responsibility. So we are both responsible for the safety. So what safety the clientele or the client responsibility is there? Of course, first of all, before entering to the clinic, so they should wear the safety mask, that is N95, or so if the somebody or a three-ply surgical mask or respirators. If somebody is not wearing who are entering to our center, so we only provide the surgical mask. So when they come and enter the our premises, so we only provide them if they are not wearing the safety mask. So like just a simple cloth mask and other things. So, and next is the of course, we have kept the hand sanitizer there. So which is a no touch or a foot pedal operated. And Also, we have auto sensor sanitizers. So there is no touch also. It's like, if the people are not touching it, so only the auto sensor, the sanitization, will drop there. So thereby there is cross contamination is not there. So, and also, of course, we have displayed some of the safety measures to be followed by the clientele, like the social distancing. And of course, the before while entering our center, when we talk to them and giving the appointment, so we speak about the number of people entering to the center here. So maybe they can come alone, or they can have one support person, but not the definitely not the children, and the elderly people should be avoided. So that's what we mention them. And of course, they should have their own the transport system instead of the public transport, or the other things where there's still some risk is there. And the next is the regarding the transactions. So it is better to do the digital transaction or a cashless transaction. We encourage them actually rather. So, and also once they enter, so we give a checklist for them to fill the form. So here, so we ask them to be very genuine about the whatever the checklist they fill up here. See, regarding maybe these COVID symptoms, the corona, the problem symptoms, as well as, and also like travel history, or the being in the crowd recently. So many other checklist will be there. So we ask them to be genuine and prompt about this, because of course it is good for them as well as for the hospital staff as well. And also like the wearing the mask, all the time when during the consultation hours also, as well as like before surgery when they come in. So even the associated persons also need to take care of that, wearing the mask. Post surgery also, so even the supporting persons should wear the mask all the time. It's very important. And like during the follow-ups also, we ask them to wear the mask all the time. So these are some important precautions we tell them. And also we ask them to avoid the exposure. So some the information about the risk exposure. So ask them to avoid them before coming, even for the consultation, even coming for the before surgery as well. And also after surgery also, so they will be having some follow-ups also. So for them during that period also, we they give some necessary information, educate them, so how to avoid the risk for them. So then, like rarely, like when the people are coming from the containment zone or with some recent travel history, though they are asymptomatic, they do not have symptoms. So sometimes, of course, we do ask them to get that COVID-19 test before entering the center. So at least so these are the few the clientele responsibilities what we mentioned. So during the primary the discussion over the phone, so we'll be discussing about these, asking the history proper, and also like if necessary we ask them to go for this COVID test. And coming to this hospital responsibility, of course we are providing the necessary the sanitizations, and also like we do the check their temperature by digital thermometers, and also we provide them a proper checklist, and also we educate our staff to be like to wear the mask all the time while giving any services. So, and also to maintain some social distancing as far as possible, because of course the intimacy is required, because while doing dressing, examination, doing surgeries, we can't avoid that. But so we also educate them to be precautious, and also to change the gloves repeatedly while handling one patient to other, or when any for such reasons, we'll ask him change the gloves regularly. So here, we also do the periodic disinfection of the reception. So where the people come and sit, so we also periodically disinfect them, like by fumigation, and also we fumigate the wards before the clients entering there, and once they leave the ward also we fumigate or disinfect the wards also, so that there is no chance of cross infection. So even in the OT, of course, we do regularly do that, twice daily actually, rather I can say. And in between the surgeries also, we do take precautions of corporization. And the all OT staff here, including the surgeon, assistant, and the anesthetist and the staff nurse will be wearing the respirators. So which is most important actually. So for us as well as for the clientele. So because of these regular 3-ply masks may not be of sufficient safety while doing surgeries. So that is how, and if any doubt arises like regarding our staff, like if somebody facing some symptoms, maybe fever or something, so we avoid them, ask them to be at home till they recover. And if necessary, of course, we'll be wanting them to go for a test also. So we don't want to risk our clientele. So like that. So we also dispose our linens, means what we use for the patients. No, so there are a lot of difference before COVID and now. So we need to disinfect the linens on a regular basis for each clientele. We have to take care of that. And and while giving the OPDs, so we give different slots and ask them to maintain their time because it avoids the crowd as well. And also, as a general, the hospital, the care, when we are following the ICMR prophylaxis, means the Indian Council Medical Research. So it has got some guidelines for the hospital staff as well. So we should also be, we are also at slight risk of the COVID-19. So thereby, so we are also taking the HCP tablets, even all the staff are taking, so that at least we are also safe, and we don't spread or whatever. And so we are also following the state government and the central government, the guidelines also. So thereby overall, I can say this guidelines, whatever are protocols overall, whether the patient responsibilities or the hospital responsibilities. So we are following since a month actually, almost I can say a month. So a month, so we are following, and so we are progressing, yeah, like in a regular basis, like the services what we were providing before the corona also. So we are also happy with the whatever the so far the safety measures we have taken, and the clients are also happy with that, whatever the measures we are taking it.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Girish.
Okay.
The ongoing pandemic is causing disruptions with the amount of risk that is involved in the procedures. So how will COVID-19 impact the cosmetic surgery procedures, and how will the industry tackle this? So Dr. Rashmi, can you tell our audience something about this particular topic?
Shailaja, regarding cosmetic surgery, I think Dr. Girish and Pawan are the best persons to talk about the surgery part of it.
Okay, so I will take it
I
up
think
with
Dr.
Dr.
Girish.
Pawan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Shailaja.
Yes, Dr. Pawan.
Yeah, I'll be able to add some few points here.
Sure, Dr.
Regarding this question.
Yes.
See, of course, there is always some risk. There is absolutely there is no foolproof safety measures. So there is some risk. There is some risk involved for the clientele. There is some risk involved for the hospital industry. I mean, especially our cosmetic industry. but the infection rate is, I can say, almost a minimum compared to the other hospital industry. As already the reasons mentioned, the middle-aged people, the young people, the fit people, the healthy people. So these are the reasons where, and also like the following the necessary precautions. And following strictly their responsibilities. So these are the few things which definitely there is a less chance of getting infected mutually. So that is there actually always. And most of us, all our surgeries are elective surgeries, as Dr. Pawan also mentioned. So we always perform there's no emergency surgeries as such. Like there is, everything is planned here, everything is elective surgery. So they come prepared both mentally and physically. So even we educate them not to fear anything. So of course, because the fear will not help in any way. So maybe sometimes it decreases the immunity. So they should not have the fear about the corona nor even about the surgeries as well. So thereby, even I think it is less impact for the cosmetic industry, especially in Bangalore, being a safe zone as well. So compared to any of those metropolitan cities in India or abroad, I can say. So I think there is definitely a scope and safety for the cosmetic industry in Bangalore, especially, I can say. So that one. So whatever, finally it's all about the precautions. One has to strictly adhere to the precautions for both the clientele and the hospital industry. So thereby, I think there should not be a real problem in any way. There should not be any hassles also. That's what I think so.
Shailaj, I would like to add your one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
It is, it is noticed that, in the clinics, because of the fear, uh, every other second, I've seen my staff also going and disinfecting their hands, which is not required, number one. And then this also adversely affect, because it dries up and it makes the skin rough and dry. And then, it also, when it is not required, with every 5-10 seconds, there's so much of fear that every 5-10 seconds, it is they're disinfecting their hands, which later on, it might irritate their skin. It can cause rashes. It can cause any bacterial infection. So, ideally speaking, whenever they come in contact uh, with the area where they suspect that there is they must have come in contact with not disinfected area, only then it is required, just to keep ourselves, because instead of killing corona, we should not invite other bacteria and viral infection on our hands also. And it is also noticed that if any ophthalmologist are there, so it irritates the eyes also, so repeated using of disinfectant is definitely not required for the clinical staff. And of course the clients, they do know that, which is not required. The best thing is, using soap, using soap, washing it at least for 20 seconds, making sure that the entire hands and fingers are properly cleaned. With these steps, at least our moisture content is retained in our hands, so our moisture content is very important for our skin to be healthy. I'm sure Dr. Pawan should be able to add some more points on these.
Sure. Yes, Dr. Rashmi, as you suggested, definitely the kind of disinfectant, the type of sanitizers, because even recently it was in news that some people use the wrong sanitizer and they were in trouble. Similarly, the kind it should be similar to that of ISI approved, similarly FDA approved. There should be some guidelines that what sanitizer should be used, and it should come from the government because lot many people are providing with lot many sanitizers these days, and most of them, as you said, it will have an irritant which is a very much harmful substance for the skin. And we all deal with the skin industry itself, so we know that how much effect it has on the skin and causing the rashes, the secondary infections, dryness, all those things we do get because of use of wrong sanitizers.
Thank you, Dr. Pawan. So, go digital is the mantra that every industry is following now. So, what is the digital innovations like the technology enables the effective post-COVID era? So, Dr. Rashmi, can you just speak something about this particular aspect?
Yeah, definitely, because because of this digitalization, two things are really, because I also deal with institutes, so online classes has helped a lot for us. Even during lockdown, we could conduct online classes, and it is because of the digitalization. I think overall, not only for our industry, if you notice, under Modi ji's guidance, even to the rural areas, it is getting benefited. Rural kids are also able to, be properly educated irrespective of the lockdown what we have now. Secondly, when it comes to clientele, this thing, half of our work on the digitalization only it happens. So most of the consultations that we do, though we are not able to give the services online, but most of the things, it prevents them traveling all the way, and of course even the social distancing is maintained. That is the second thing. And third thing, all of a sudden, I've seen it like, because of the lockdown, lot of seminars, lot of beauty industry are coming up, just like the way you have organized now, which never happened I think before. A lot of these things are coming up now. And then the information shared is very vast. This is helping even for the professionals and also for the non-professionals, like our clients. So I think digitalization, this can be a new era for us, where I don't know how it is going to take a turn later on, but in a big way it should help our industry. And even as we know earlier also, like on Amazon and Flipkart and all those things, people were used to buying things, cosmetic products online. But because of now post COVID, I think that would increase the digital marketing, the digital learning, the digital selling of products, digital buying of products will online. It will increase amazingly. And I think all of us, but for the service oriented, rest of the things, our online should help in a big way.
So as you likely said, the digital way is going to enhance the future of our industry. So post-pandemic future, the industry will see more emphasis on the digital collaborations and sustainability. So what could be the top trends in the industry, Dr. Rashmi?
Top trend, I think all the cosmetic procedures and the things, everything becomes top trend, See, what I have seen is nowadays, looking good, looking young is become a trend, either naturally or artificially. Our neighbors are looking good, my relatives are looking good, I should look good. My husband is looking good, I should look good. So that is a trend that is happening now. So I've seen many of our clients also, doctor, she asked me what you are doing, but I did not say that I'm doing this procedure. I said it's naturally happening. So that is the trend that is happening now. So whether we do it aesthetically, whether we do it naturally, or whether we do it with the cosmetic procedures or surgical procedure, all of them are gradually, slowly and gradually increasing. Yes, because of the COVID and because of the fear, initially there might be resistance for the invasive procedures. but slowly and gradually, I think later on, for the anti-wrinkle treatments, to look young will be very popular. To look thin and slim, the cosmetic procedures like, the surgical procedures, what Dr. Pawan and Girish are doing, that would trend a lot. And our regular procedures for uh, acne treatment, pigmentation treatment, and whitening. All of a sudden, there is a big trend for whitening. Kajol is looking fair. This film star is looking fair. What are they doing? Trying to look fair. Those are the trends which slowly and gradually increases. I think that had almost, hyped up a lot. There is a lockdown for that also. I think slowly and gradually all these things will come back, and then people will start, coming back. And once this wedding and marriages, everything starts happening, I think all these trends will come back. Looking body figure should be perfect, the face figure should be perfect, everything to be perfect.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. So, how about the technologies like the artificial intelligence, or it could be the telemedicine? How is it going to contribute for in your industry?
Is it for me? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Technology is definitely, artificial intelligence and the robotic thing, because of the COVID, you know, these trends are increasing nowadays. In fact, in the industry now, surgery they're using more than the non-surgical procedures, what we are doing, where we use a lot of electronic based equipments, just to enhance the uh, cosmetic procedure benefits. Dr. Pawan, can you
So,
add some more for
Dr.
this?
Pawan,
Yeah, regarding the digital things, I can say definitely it is a boon that at this present situation where the coronavirus is affecting pandemically, it's helping a lot many people, especially the medical health part, and the online consultations are increasing, online prescriptions are being given. But again, I can say there is a minor. I can say 80% it is a boon, means 20% there has to be a negative point. And in the negative aspect, I can show that it's the lack of human touch. Being a surgeon myself, it's like if a patient just contacts me online and tells that I want to get this surgery done, come, I cannot say that, okay, this date, come, I'll do the surgery. Because the human touch matters a lot in the case of, especially the surgical aspects. It's not only the symptoms, but what exactly is the condition he is facing and how to treat that is important, which cannot be provided by the online platforms. That's the one thing. And second thing, being in the cosmetic surgery, it is the confidentiality which is not being provided by the online platforms. So if obviously the platforms are doing great, they are giving as much as possible. I'm not telling it's a bad thing, but if they can attend to these two aspects, that's one thing, is the complete confidentiality between the doctor and patients, and there is no third person involved, even including the mobile number or the person's contact number being shared and all those things. And second thing is, after the online consultation is being done, there should be a physical examination that has to happen. It's not like the consultation is the final point of contact with the doctor and the patient. Those two things are the negative aspect, or I can say the loopholes in the case of online platforms. But apart from that, the digitalization of most of the health aspects, the health concerns being shared, and not even that, even after our surgeries being done, the patients do keep in contact with us. They do share how they are going, rather than they coming every time to visit us. That reduces the amount of their visit to the clinic, and that also help improves to maintain their health in the aspect of the coronavirus. But definitely it's a boon, as well as there is some lacking in the digitalization of the health sector.
so Dr. Girish, would you like to contribute on this?
Yeah, of course. We also do the online consultations. But when we do an online consultations, it will be a preliminary discussion, I can say. So it won't be a complete discussion, because for any discussion, the surgical related, we would like to examine the first, then give the information next. Then maybe so that we can clarify their doubts to their best. So we can also plan the surgery proper and so many things once we examine directly. But in online consultations, these things are lacking. So only we can give some necessary information. There's some basic doubts or general things we can discuss, but not the specific things related to them. So especially for the females, it's a difficult task actually to complete the discussion. So thereby, of course, there is a point and there is some usefulness that some preliminary information discussion will happen. Yes, see, once they get some confidence or they're okay with that, of course, they will visit us for the proper discussion, and that will happen at the next level.
Thank you, Dr. So what is the government role or support in fighting back the situation? So Dr. Pawan, could you start with this discussion?
Government role for the cosmetic industry is a little bit tedious question, because cosmetic as such is just a luxury, and government helping in this crisis is definitely not there for the cosmetic industry. But I'm not telling it's as again a negative point of the government. The government is doing their best to tackle the adversity and do provide the health, do provide the facilities for the healthcare sector as much as required, and all those things. Being in cosmetic industry, definitely we can cope up with a small amount of a hampering of our business, what has happened, because initially in the initial March, April, we didn't open our clinic because there wasn't any emergency requirement for the cosmetic surgeries. It was just the elective surgeries, which we started only a few days back. And the government has suggested all the required things which should be followed in the clinic, and their guidelines, all those things. So that has been a support from a government, because they have given a clear-cut guidelines that how you can start the elective cases and how you can tackle that everything. But there is a certain point which government could have done more, because right now the corona, it's more of a mental effect than a physical effect, I can say. Because if it is affecting 2 lakh people in India, through the physical effect, it has affected 100 crores of. Yeah.
Dr. Pawan,
So,
you have.
am I audible?
No, you had muted yourself. So
Yeah, sorry.
now
So as I suggested, it's like it's a mental effect which is happening, and people are panicking because of the same. People don't know what to do, what not to do. The government guidelines are not reaching the people. They're not reaching the village level, rural level, let alone the metro cities itself. And people just are watching the television channel, or they are seeing the social media platform, and just taking their inputs from them and deciding on their own that okay, this might be the rule for the next few days. So I can say the extra part what a government can do is regularizing the social media as well as the news channel, so that they can provide with the facts that what is a coronavirus. That's one of the things, because I never came across a news program which shows what exactly is the virus, how does it affect the health, and what is the thing it is causing. Not even a single channel has shown that so far. So that's the one thing which they can regularize, not to create a panic among the people, that not to tell the people that what can happen if they go out. Just tell the people that this is the thing which is happening, and this is the precautions what they have to take, and these are the guidelines made by the government. Rather than just going off telling that the government could have done that, government could have done this. That's the one negative point what the social media is being responsible. So a government can definitely help a little bit in part, giving the guidelines properly, which is to be reached each and every rural or the urban areas for the people, for the clinics, for the hospitals and private, government, each and everything. And that's the one extra part what a government can do. But apart from that, for our cosmetic industry, we haven't received any kind of extra support from the government. That's definitely a true. But again, we cannot expect much from the government because it's an extra procedures what people do get it done. It's not a necessary procedures. That's why. I think
So
Dr.
Dr.
Yeah,
Girish.
I agree with Dr. Pawan. Of course, it's a luxury procedures, the beauty industry is. But if the government ensures that, the other sectors are surviving and they're at the profit range, then, indirectly it is helping us, because if people have money, then they have to come to us, for the luxurious polishing, grooming effect. So if people don't have money, then, it is affecting us. So if not directly, I'm sure if government ensures that rest of the industries are doing well, then definitely, our industry is dependent on the rest of the industry's profit. Secondly, I think this is the time for the cosmetic industry, for the manufacturers, because, internationally, I think, like Modi ji said, like we have to be self-sufficient, and he is encouraging us to do things on our own, like, for whether it is a manufacturing industry, whether it is any sort of industry for that matter. For us in a manufacturing industry, in the beauty industry, a lot of products we used to import it from different countries, so lot of equipments, lot of products, not that we could not manufacture it, it is just that the trend was there. Oh, if the cosmetics are from Italy, it is the best. If the cosmetic from the Germany, it is best. Trust me, there are many people, many of my friends also, where they say that when I argue with them, why not India? Why don't you brand it as India? Because it's primarily sourced from India. They say that no, doctor, it's a trend that, people will buy it if it is from, if it is manufactured in US, manufactured in Italy. So that, I think that concept, people mind should go off now. If that is prevented, or if the government reduces the import of all these products, then trust me, India, we can be a hub for all the cosmetic products. I'm just particular about our field, and also many of the aesthetic equipments. We have some of the startup, engineering students who are willingly trying to, come up with a lot of technologies. They can manufacture. For example, if we talk about cryolipolysis, laser equipments, or ultrasound for slimming, or ultrasound for facelifting, we are importing from China or Korea or Italy, Germany, like that. So these things, like the way they manufactured ventilators, at a very reasonable price, our, electrical and mechanical engineers can put an effort with the doctor's team to come up with these equipment. I think if, government encourages at this point, just like, Korea was nowhere in the list of cosmetic equipments, if I see from 10 years or 15 years back. But now I see that most of the, products and equipment, they compete with China, Japan, and Germany and Italy. So they compete with them. Why all of a sudden? Why not India? I'm sure we Indians can, during after post-COVID, with the government support in the cosmetic industry, they can come up with these equipments, and we can be number one, like the way we used to see in the news and all. People, they prefer India for many of the products and equipment. So we can start giving away our cosmetic products and our cosmetic equipments to the entire world. So in that way, government can help us.
Thank you, Doctor. So, Dr. Girish, would you want to speak something about this?
Yeah, I feel the government, as far as the government is concerned, of course, they can't support financially or any other way for the cosmetic industry. But of course, they can give us the guidelines which has already been given and we are following and we are happy with that. So about the guidelines to be followed in the hospital as well as in the OT atmosphere. So those things, and so we are happy so far with the following those guidelines, and we are safe and our patients are also safe. So that's what I can say. There's a limited role. I mean, at least only the safety concerns they are giving us, and that is we are happy with that.
Thank you, Dr. Girish. So I would like to know if the audience has some questions to our panelists. So we can have a question and answer. If you have any questions, you can drop a chat message or you can ask directly to the doctor's name.
I have a question, Salja, to doctors.
Yes, yes, Doctor, go ahead.
Doctor, I do believe that it is going to be, a kind of luxury to get for the skin surgery or any surgery related to beautification or maybe hair or whatever. How do you see that the rural India, which is becoming so conscious about their health and wellness, their looks, which is a good trend, they should be. How do you think that we can bring them into the mainstream of this beauty and hair treatment, so that we see that Fit Raw India kind of slogan reaches out to them. Do you have any suggestion for us how we can bring them into the mainstream? Any idea, even if we have to use technology for that?
Definitely, initially, like the way doctors have answered before, digitally, if you're talking them to bring in this profession, first training them digitally, we can help them, and then after a certain theoretical training digitally, we can bring them in, and then we can train them for hands-on training for a couple number of weeks. Like initially we have to train them, for example, all the theory part of it using the digitally distance training, and then bring them in for the hands-on training. That is one thing. And then recruiting them slowly and gradually under these industry. That is one thing what we can do. I'll pass it on to Dr. Girish to add on some points.
How can we get the patients also, the people who are conscious and quite price-worthy, they find it very costly treatment, but we can see it as an opportunity and some ways so that we can bring into the mainstream, so that they come to places like Bangalore, even if it is remotely, and they talk to the panel of doctors like Dr. Girish, Pawan, or Rashmi, or many more on our panel, So any suggestion which you think where we can even involve technology and we can reach out to them? Dr. Girish, Pawan.
Yeah, so the main the problems in the rural people is about the awareness about the cosmetic procedures, maybe non-surgical or surgical, and their importance in their the self respect or the self whatever confidence level can improve and bring them. So they will be looking for the solution, but they don't know whom to approach, where to approach, so who is good and other things. So the main thing is bringing some sort of awareness through a digital way or the whatsoever other medias are there. So finally, that's the one thing, because they will not have too much of access to the internet and the whatever the information necessary, and sometimes they won't be understanding so what exactly these are the things, and there always a fear about the risk involved in the such surgeries or any non-surgical modalities. So the basic fear will always be there because of the maybe some rumors and some misinformations, misguidance, and so many things. So the main thing is when giving them the proper information, reaching them with proper information, whatever the way, of course, the digital way can be improved. There are other ways of reaching them, maybe through TV interviews or the print media also. So some sort of awareness and proper information. So then even they are arranging the possibly if online consultation to clarify their basic doubts, so that at least they can come forward for the consultation after at least they get some courage or some clear information about the procedure. So that is how I feel.
True, true. One quick counter question on this, Dr. Girish. Can I?
Yeah, please.
So like, in terms to bring them into mainstream and ensure that their confidence level is high, of course, they find it a very pricey industry. That's a perception they carry, that, everything happens only at the level of VLCC and Kaya kind of things, which is not a fact. We have the standalone wonderful doctors who are doing at a par economical rate, and all of you are into that range. Where do you think that clinics, despite all the impact on the financials due to Corona and the lockdown, COVID-19 lockdown, do you think that clinics would still love to spend in that area where these rural can be brought into the mainstream, and they will still maintain a marketing budget so that this message goes out to the rural area, so that they are confident enough to come to these clinics? Will clinics still continue a marketing budget for that?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, always they will be in assumptions that any treatment is costly or beyond their reach. So first of all, the communication should happen to clarify on this. Yes, whatever it is, they should give the reasonable or the realistic budget. So they should also understand, and of course, we can extend our help to modify our budget to reach them, and also to extend our whatever services to them. We are open for that.
Okay, thank you so much.
And moreover, I think now the beauty industry is not as expensive as it was before. Before, it was considered as it only belonged to the top celebrities or top rich people, and now the beauty industry, it is because of the saturation, because of the competitive things. We can at a lower budget itself, we can reach out to a lot of even lower middle class people, who would like to transform themselves for their personal reasons, or for their, anybody with the deformities now, with a very minimal budget, they can get it corrected. It is not as expensive as it was before. Anybody thinking about plastic surgery earlier, it was a very expensive this thing, but now we see that even middle class or lower middle class people also getting small like nose corrections, lip corrections, small things. They do, it is affordable. It is not so I'm sure even in rural areas people can reach out. I think only if, like the way doctor said, but only the awareness is required. If that awareness, the financial awareness, people are aware, oh, this can be done, that can be done. If only thing is we don't discuss about the prices online, even if you're talking on the television or on call or anything, we don't talk about the pricing. So once they come in and then they discuss, definitely we can help them out to our best. That is number one. Like any other thing, where they go in other medical sectors, we do a lot of what you call workshops, clinical workshops. They go to different villages and they do clinical workshop. Well, in cosmetic industry, we have not done that type of workshops, but if required, I think we can. It is just that, I don't know how rural people would be very much interested in this cosmetic procedures, but definitely if workshops are conducted, it is much easy to reach out to these people.
Sure. Thank you, Rashmi.
Yeah, I would like to add another point in that. So the digital platforms which are aiming at giving the teleconsultation or providing the online consultations and all, it would be really good if the digital platforms create that awareness, as Dr. Girish and Dr. Rashmi said, the awareness that such things can be corrected. I can see because 80% people living in the villages in India, and they are living with whatever the body deformities they are having. You know, even if there is a burns, the burn injuries are there, burn deformities are there. It's like they accept that the God has given it to them, and they have to live with it for the entire life. That's the thinking what they are having. Until and unless the digital platforms go to the rural and tell them that these are the things which can be correct.
Dr. Pawan, you are muted again.
Yeah, and that too at such a financial
Something wrong with Dr. Pawan's audio.
sorry, yeah, that's what
It's
the digital
digital
platform.
touch.
So the digital platform should just make the awareness of the corrections, what can be done, as well as what are the financial ability, at what rate it can be done, what cost the client will be bearing, and if at all possible, any health insurance policies as well as the government packages which can help those people for the deformities to be to get it corrected. So that is also required. No, it's not only that the doctor should reduce the price and completely, but it's like even the government. So there are certain packages which are not covering the cosmetic procedures, but for example, the burn injuries, the burn deformities, the people having a lot many other deformities of the body, it can be covered under certain health insurance policies as well, and that will be a great help for the rural India.
Thank you, Dr.
So we have a chat by Dr. Om Prakash, Mr. Om Prakash. So he says that is that a question, Mr. Om Prakash, that you'd like to ask the doctors? So he says people with great talents are left behind because of their appearance, which has really drained their confidence level. Awareness is the slogan for any development. So would anybody want to?
I think he has just put it as awareness, which is required in all the different fields, and including the cosmetic industry. Because cosmetic industry, I can say it's hardly 10 to 15 years since it has entered India. So awareness is the protocol which has to be followed. The second part, what he said, that the appearances is required for each and every aspects of the profession. That is always a true, and many people do come to us for enhancing their appearances. Few people also ask that I want to look like him, her, and all those things. But again, there are restrictions what we can do, and it's not that the appearance is one all that matters, but the talent also does. That should be included as well. That's
Very true. See, many of them, because we deal with the cosmetic industry, I have seen many of them, not big problems, okay? Let's consider as a female with a PCOD or thyroid problem having a lot of hair on her cheeks and the neck. She comes, she sits in front of us and she starts, I've seen many of the clients crying in front of us. They say that I have not gone to any parties with my husband. I don't like socializing because of my hair. Doctor, I remove it today and tomorrow it starts growing. And because they are plucking it every day, there is a sort of pigmentation and marks on their thing. Because of which, after doing laser hair removal, they have a clear skin. And when they have a clear skin, they are totally a different person. So you can imagine that, even though their skill is there, if their self-confidence is affected, it will not bring out their maximum capacity, Just a small pimple on the face. I'm sure all of us, I don't know about men, but at least for girls, at least a small pimple on the face, we are so conscious when we are having consultation. We are so conscious when we are having meeting forget it when we go to a wedding or a party. It does, for some reasons, it does hamper our self-confidence. So, and the worst thing, just now we had a discussion for the rural people when they have burns and when they have, acid attack, though it's a next level itself. So definitely with the involvement of cosmetic procedures and the cosmetic surgical procedures, their self-confidence can be boosted, and the real talents who are hiding themselves because they are conscious to show their face to the world or show themselves to the world can be, brought back to normal.
So we have one more question here. Many believe that the new safety protocols will increase the operating cost, resulting in the price hike and straining the customer wallet and amid the salary cuts and layoffs. So, what are your views on this and what protocols can be followed? So, Dr. Girish, can you share some
Yeah, of course.
viewpoints?
After this COVID, the lot of because of a lot of cost involved in the precautions, the safety measures. So everything is disposable. So like we need to dispose of. So then maybe the bed covers, or the gloves. The lot of the recurring the expenditure will be there for each customer. It may be the surgery or even the consultation. So likewise, of course, her question is genuine. That of course the extra cost may come up because of these measures. Yes, I do agree with that, because we cannot avoid. So this is now the most top priority is the safety for them or for us. So next is the purpose, whatever they're coming for, the purpose. So we have to manage the safety as a priority. So in this COVID era, so of course that will be an extra burden for whomever going for the procedures, but we do have a due consideration to share the burden as well. So we are doing that actually. And to the answer the another part of the Mr. Om Prakash, the question is that the health insurance companies have to really plan their packages. Of course, the health as a whole is by WHO definition is mental health, physical health. So, but the insurances are covering only the physical health. So the mental illness because of their bodily deformities or the problems of what they're having for the face or any part of the body, maybe obesity also. So the insurance is not covered there. So we as a plastic surgeons and cosmetic surgeons are, of course, through the association are fighting to get these surgeries under the insurances, because of course by WHO the health definition is both mental and physical. So because of these obesity and other problems, their mental health is affected. The self-confidence has gone down. So many things, even for gynecomastia, obesity, for the nose surgeries, what they're going for, the face surgeries, what they're going for. So his concern is to incorporate these surgeries to the health insurance. And of course, we are fighting at the association level, but still, how the corona is pandemic, the same problem is there. Like pandemic means in all countries, these cosmetic surgeries do not come under health insurance. But of course, we are trying. But nowadays, even one by one, like daycare surgeries, one or the other surgeries now are daily adding to the insurance part. Hope will succeed in one day of incorporating these cosmetic procedures, benefiting them. So then there was a question about the government role. So we have the basic problem of GST. So as any business person will face the problem, the GST is a problem once again, because for all cosmetic surgeries, the client has to pay the GST, which is too much and difficult for them. So first of all, they will find the whatever the basic price we are offering itself is slightly looking big for them at this juncture, or even before also. So even we also requesting our governments to decrease to some extent, to decrease the burden. So that should happen, actually, yet to happen. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Purush. So, do we have any more questions, audience? Would anybody like to ask anything to the doctors?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can go on.
Somebody's asking.
Yeah, hi, Amrita here. I just want to understand because I believe everybody was just discussing about the rural area, and today if because of COVID-19, the tough situation, I believe everybody is scared of to visit the clinic and the hospital, and the cosmetic is the one part, we give a lot of focus, we just ignore that. So what is the strategy you all are planning, to make the person who visit the clinic to give a comfort level for that, and reduce the fear, because we don't know the symptoms and all that, it will reflect after 12 days, so always the fear will be inside, all across. So what is the strategy you are planning to go through?
So of course, the patients may be asymptomatic. So we don't know about we cannot differentiate the asymptomatic people having being positive, actually.
You're right.
But we are not worried about that, actually. So because they are not transmitting in a higher level, or it is not easy for them also transmit the disease, because they are immune. So because of them only the herd immunity is improving. So as far as possible, we can think about if they're asymptomatic, we are okay with that. So because they're healthy, why they're asymptomatic? Because they're healthy, their immunity level is good. So we are okay with that. So we do not worry about being asymptomatic, and we need not test everyone. So unless otherwise. And of course, with traveling from the rural, as far as our clients are concerned, we advise them to have their personal transport instead of going for a public transport, where there can be a chances of having some infection there. So that's the one thing we advise every time. So when they come, maybe for the consultation, maybe for the other part. So what else do you want to know, Amrita?
I had two questions. Once you correctly answered it. Other one, I just want to know, because urban area we were discussing, we actually, I believe a lot of awareness is still required in the urban area. If you go for any age group, I believe it's, people have before she was talking about a lot of ladies who is going to, get married, or who has this thyroid problem, they will have a lot of hair on the cheek and all that, but still they avoid, to go for a laser treatment. They will be keep doing other some other alternate, like going for the VLCC or something. So what's plan you are making to more awareness inside the urban area itself? Because I believe it's a lot of untouched areas are there. A lot of people are not aware, and they think it's really expensive, and they will just postpone it and get you some other alternative. So how to make more aware inside the urban area?
See, once we are doing the digital marketing, so what I understood from your this thing is you're talking about two things. One is the pricing part of it, where people will feel that it is expensive, and the other part you're telling us is whether they're still afraid to come into the clinic to get this procedures done. Whenever we are having the digital marketing there, we show them that our clinic is safe, and we sometimes we show it with the pictures, or we show it with a video, or we explain also digitally, either with the Facebook or Instagram, whatever the digital platform, and even on our websites, proving that it is safe to come inside the clinic. We will show them the PPA kit, some of our not the doctor's PPA kit, but the disposable PPA kit, what we are using as a therapist when they're using it, and how doctors are using their safety precautions. This makes them feel confident that, yes, I'm safe to go to this clinic. And the moment they enter, and like the way Dr. Girish explained in the previous questions, all the, the sanitizer, the auto sanitizer, the temperature checking, all those things, the moment they enter into the clinic, when they see all these things, automatically we don't have to tell them, the confidence builds up in them, and then coming to the pricing, yes, before we were not announcing the pricing, maybe in this present scenario, whenever we describe things, if we announce the pricing in the digital platform, like for this procedure, we would charge you this much, then definitely they will look into the pricing and they will have that confidence. Okay, this is within my budget and I can still go and get the procedures done. So that the fear of it might be expensive, when they see the pricing, that brings them the confidence that, well, it is within my budget. And the fear of with the cross contamination and entering into the clinic with our videos and all those things, whatever we have done so far, Dr. Girish beautifully explained about it. So if we video it and we show it to them, then that brings in the confidence, which will be confirmed to them once they enter into the clinic.
Well explained. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there is one more question by Om Prakash. That the insurance is covered for the vehicles. Okay, why not for the human beings? From bumper to bumper, of course. Of course, that's what I already mentioned. We are also trying our level best to have this our procedures included in the insurance part, but still is in the process and slowly happening, I can say. And also secondly, as mentioned about the herd immunity, which is happening. Yes, it's a good news. We also heard about that, and it's happening also, especially in India. So especially in the middle age group. So that's a good news always. So I can say the bottom line is nobody should fear about the corona. So only the precautions should be followed. And I think as a routine life or anything was happening before should also happen now also. But only thing, few precautions, strict precautions, cautious. That's all is the answer for the current scenario.
Now, just to add 2 points for the insurance regarding it, if the insurance people include cosmetic procedures, trust me, within 1 year, all the cosmetic procedure people will become billionaires, because everybody would be in the cosmetic clinic, because one or the other thing we need to be corrected, whether it is on the face or on the body. We need it, whether it is on the hair. Yes, insurance, I don't know about here, but in Dubai, the high-end insurance where the insurance premium is high, they do cover some of the cosmetic procedures and the dental cosmetic procedures also, like some of the chemical peels, the plastic surgery, and aesthetic procedures, including Botox and fillers also, they do cover, but their premium is high. But when they make it generalized, I think it will reach to the lower people also. It would definitely benefit public, but it will be a heavy cost on the insurance people. But because, as I told you, everybody, every one of us would require aesthetic treatment, because who wouldn't like to look beautiful, isn't it? So because of that, insurance people are little hesitant to include cosmetic. I think so, but yeah. High-end insurance, they do provide in Dubai, I know, but here I'm still not aware of it. High-end insurance are including cosmetic procedures. That's how many of the UAE nationals, they do take this advantage.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi, for sharing this wonderful insight. So, as we are running short of time now, we have to end the session. Right. So thank you, doctors, and our wonderful audience for participating at this discussion. And our expert panel has certainly given the best of their knowledge and inputs about the various topics of discussion. And I also believe that our audience has also got the immense value and understanding from all the topics that our doctors have shared today. So let's all hope to fight the COVID-19 pandemic situation together, and let's stay healthy and stay safe. So anyways, thank you everybody for joining this session, and we would like to say bye to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Shailaja.
you. Thank you, Shailaja. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
It was a
Shailaja,
nice discussion.
and the co-panelists, Dr. Pawan, Dr. Rashmi, as well as, first of all, I would like to thank even the Simply Wow, so which has organized this panel discussion. So this was a beautiful panel discussion I can understand. So thanks to the Simply Wow as well.
Thank you, Dr. Girish.
Thank you so
Thank
much, sir.
you.
We are a
Thank you,
family
Dr.
now.
Pawan. Thank you, Dr. Girish.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Yes, of
Bye.
course, we have.